What's up, everybody? Sean from Flatline Jeeper here. So we today got a little bit of a reveal and some other products for you to look at. Me and my wife, we decided to combine some vehicles and change out some vehicles so that now we actually went down a vehicle and also saved on insurance and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we traded in my Cruise, which I was kind of sad about, but as well as we also traded in her Equinox. And if you remember, I've got like a couple videos on each of those on a couple different things to do. But we traded in both of those. Her Equinox was starting to become a little bit of a problem child. It had over like 160,000 miles or something like that. It kept having issues. Little things here and there just kept popping up, and we were kind of just not super thrilled with the car. We've got it kind of as a gap stopgap to when my wife first was pregnant. She had a two-door Mustang, and we got rid of that, got the Equinox, and we got a really good deal on it. So we weren't upset about it, but it really wasn't a car that we were like, woohoo, let's hang on to this. So what we ended up doing was we traded in the Cruise, like I said, and traded in the Equinox and got ourselves ta-da, a Jeep Cherokee 2020. We're leasing it right now, but because my wife actually likes it, but we wanted to make sure she liked it before we bought it. They were running really good deals on leases when we bought it. This was right during the kind of peak of COVID, all that stuff when we picked it up. So had some pretty good deals on it. Because of what we owed on the Cruise and everything, and we're paying more than what the actual lease would be, but we're going to be getting out of that being upside down in the Cruise. I've been upside down in my Cruise and my Dakota and my Toyota Corolla I had ever since for a very long time. So hopefully this will help us out a little bit here. So before anybody gets all angry and, oh, that's not a real Jeep, you know what? I used to think that too, and because I worked at Jeep, everybody knows that. I worked at a Chrysler dealership, and when these things first came out, you know, I'm a big XJ Cherokee fan. When these things first came out, it was an uproar because they're using the name, everything. They're like, oh, it's not a real vehicle, blah, 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 blah. It's not a real Jeep, blah, 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 blah. It was one of the first Jeeps that Fiat designed. But you know what? We took this thing out and actually went to our local wheeling area down at Tuttle Creek ORV in Kansas, and I was super impressed, even with these dumb little all-terrains. All right, do a quick little walk around here. So like I said, I love the color. She loved the color too. It's got the tow hooks on the front. Even with these tires, these all-terrains, they're not the greatest in mud. So they really kind of sucked once we got into some mud, and we almost really caused some serious panel damage, but I was able to get it maneuvered around and get out of the way, just because the tires got caked up and weren't grabbing with a little bit of mud. Like I said, it rained down there a couple days before we had gotten there, and it doesn't drain very well in some spots. So, but this thing is super capable. I was very, very surprised with it. This is all stock so far because it's a lease. We haven't done anything to it, except for we put in, let me unlock it. Only thing we've done so far is put in the kiddo seat, a seat cover, and some other things, if you caught that. Anyways, haven't done really anything to it. Well, we also put in a tailgate area liner back here. So fire extinguisher, always want to have a fire extinguisher with you. First aid kit, other vehicle recovery stuff. That's a off-road bag, and you can still see, I mean, we went out like on Father's Day down to Tuttle Creek. That was my Father's Day gift. It was my wife's like, all right, we're gonna go drive down there, we'll do some wheeling, don't break my car. So I was like, oh sweet, this should be fun. Yeah, ended up having to use that to dig us out of a hole. Plus, like I said, the tires got all jacked up with mud and didn't get very good traction, so it wasn't the greatest. So, but tons of cargo space back here. You can see tons and tons of room. And that was the biggest thing we liked over the Equinox, was just a lot of room in the back. So then inside here, do a quick little view of the inside. Nice. The Trailhawk version comes with the leather seats. The only thing I wish it had was a sunroof. It doesn't have a sunroof. But you know, good ergonomics. I'm like 6 foot, about 230, 240 pounds on a heavy day, and I can fit comfortably in the passenger seat with the car seat behind it. Now see, it's all the way backed up to each other, but they're it's really comfortable. Good gas mileage. It's a V6. It's got the lockers in the rear, got the skid plates, got the tow hooks front and back. The only thing it doesn't have that I wish it did was a hitch. So I'm probably going to end up eventually at some point putting a hitch on it. These ones are a little bit different because you don't have to replace the entire rear fascia like you do on some of the other street models. It actually has the cutout pre-cut in the fascia, so all you got to do is pull the whole fascia off and put in the hitch bar. And like it says, not his Jeep, it's my wife's Jeep. It's her daily driver. So hopefully, you know, we'll get some videos of this thing once it gets a little bit older. We can actually take it out and maybe do some more stuff to it. Like I said, I was very, very impressed with it. I thought that we weren't going to be able to get nearly as far as we did. I did air down the tires, had it in rock mode, and the locker engaged and everything, and I was super impressed with what this thing was able to do. Now, it does take a little bit of learning to learn how to drive this thing, because it uses traction control even in rock mode, and ABS and all those systems to manage the power transfer. So you do kind of have to drive with the gas pedal to get it to activate the brakes on which wheel is slipping and everything, even with the locker in the rear. So that was a little bit of a learning curve. And like I said, I think if we had some actual mud tires on this thing, or just more aggressive all-terrains, you know, something like these Goodyears that I have on my Wrangler, or even, you know, just something with a little more gap between the lugs, I think we would have had a lot better time and a little bit more fun. So I did get some rock rash on one of the wheels, and actually what we somehow, because this thing's got such a big nose, ended up chipping the paint off of this thing because I hit something. And actually this whole thing was pushed in like the size of a basketball pushed in. So the next day I felt really, really bad for it. So the next day I came out here and removed the wheel, undid some of the fasteners, and actually took a heat gun and straightened all this stuff out. That's one nice thing about the plastic on these, on the front bumpers, is you can actually do a little bit of repair work without having to actually take it to a body shop. So I didn't videotape any of it just because I was in a bad mood, because I busted up my wife's car and she was kind of pissed at me. So I just fixed it, called it a day. You know, just you hardly notice it unless somebody brings it up to their attention. So tow hooks, 2 in the front, 1 in the rear, fog lights. I do like the 2019 to 2020 transition where they put all the headlights in 1 instead of the 3. But you know, Jeep Cherokee trail rated, it's got all the skid plates, everything. I think it's probably one of the best trail rated bang for your bucks, because you get the rear locker, you get the skid plates, it's got an inch higher suspension and bigger tires than the street models. You know, you can get a Renegade that's Trailhawk or trail rated, and the Wranglers that are, you know, the Rubicons and all that. But if you're looking for something that's more of a daily driver, gonna see more street than off-roading, but still be able to throw some stuff in the back and go get on the trails, especially if you live close to some, you know, throw a cooler in the back with some lunch, some chairs, and just go out and have a good day on some light trail work. You know, a couple of modifications and these things can be really, really impressive. But in the stock form, I was very, very impressed with what this thing could do. So new addition to the family. We've had it for a couple months. I think we've got close to 6,000 miles on it. Very impressed with the way it drives so far. The road noise is a little bit louder because of the tires, but it's comfortable to ride. We've driven it on 3-hour road trips before and had no issues with it whatsoever. So good choice. You know, if you, like I said, if you're looking for that kind of all arounder that can be your family daily driver, plus throw some stuff in the back and go for a wheeling trip. And in stock form, it's a good choice. And like I said, they've got some pretty good leases on them now. The price tag on them isn't that bad to begin with, and it's just a good all-around car. So like I said, you can do a couple different mods. You can search that on YouTube and see all kinds of different mods and see what these guys that have modded them out are actually doing with them. It's very impressive. So, you know, you're not going to go, you know, everywhere that something like this can go, or even, you know, more modded out than what I have for my Wrangler, but you're going to be able to get where you on some places and some pretty decent trails. So hope you guys like this video. Hope maybe you know, give you a little bit of info on the Jeep Cherokee KL. So if you're looking on YouTube, make sure to indicate Cherokee KL as in Kilo Lima, instead of the XJ, X-Ray Juliet. So hope this helps. You know, there's starting to be more and more aftermarket support for these things. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of years. So that's it for this one, and we'll see you next time on Flyline Jeeper. Bye.